Hello and welcome back to Rage Gaming and welcome to Code Vein 2. And if you want in your opening section of the game to hit massive bursts like this, or this, or this, it's really not that hard. And we have two versions for you. One that's going to be using the Deluxe Edition sword, which is just super good for its base stats, and an alternative for everyone who doesn't have that. But the concept is very simple and effective, giving yourself a massive damage buff in exchange for some nasty health drain, and then doing some basic weapon skill spam or charged heavy spam depending on the context. As part of this video, I'm going to give you a quick guide to the locations of all of the items you need to get loads of extra heals, get your weapon upgraded, whichever kind it is, get your jail upgraded, which is going to enhance the power of your partner as well, and actually find a solid weapon to start you out for all of the 7 weapon types, and a solid option for your first boosters, food buffs, and even some haze farming options too. So lots to cover, let's just get into it. Let's tackle the elephant in the room immediately. There are two versions of the build. One that's using this greatsword, a one-handed sword called the Ame no Habakiri, which is available if you have the deluxe edition of the game. Very quickly, you're going to make your way to the hub. So up here where we have the actual weapons shop with Jadwiga, you'll be able to purchase small selections of weapons. If you have the deluxe edition, then this includes this weapon, which by the way, as you can see, costs 10 haze. It's essentially free. To show you where that is, it is Magmel, which again is the hub that you unlock in the opening of the game. Why this weapon? Well, its base stats are ridiculous compared to other weapons, and it comes with just ridiculous formae in the form of Looming Slash. That is her I-Core dump attack ability, which nullifies enemy attacks if you use it right as you jump. So you use it as you're about to take a hit, ignore the hit, deal a burst of damage. That alone makes it very strong, but you can make it ridiculous for short boss fights using Sacrificial Edge, which is an offensive support sort of self-buff. So for just 4 I-Core, you're going to greatly increase your attack power for the duration of the fight, but you're going to lose a lot of health while that's happening. It is worth it though. It's how we're doing bursts like this. So really all this is a great base weapon with Sacrificial Edge as a self buff. Then it's just combined with a solid combat former to dump your I-Core and do great damage. But the basic attacks or charge heavies are still going to be fantastic all the same. What we can do then is power up the weapon as quickly as possible. Is there a way to do this without having the deluxe edition? Yes. They're called the Tainted Weapons. And I think the reason they're called that is because they come with exactly what we care about, the Sacrificial Edge self buff. Greatly increase attack power but drain your health. So there's actually the Tainted Sword, and there's the Tainted Halberd, and the Tainted Hammer. So really what you can do with the Tainted Sword is make your weaker version of the Deluxe Edition sword, because it has worse base stats and worse scaling. In my opinion, the Tainted Halberd or the Tainted Hammer will be better. For a single hit, you go for the Hammer because it has higher base attack. But you've got faster attacks for the Halberd and wider reaching for pack clear. It's up to you what you prefer. These are both accessible right from the beginning of the game. And of course, they both come with Sacrificial Edge, the key aspect of this. For this version of the build, instead, you're going to want to scale with strength and single hit heavy charge attacks. Because of that, there's a specific offensive support former that's going to be perfect for the concept, which is increases the power of the next attack by a fixed amount. So you apply Sacrificial Edge to give yourself great attack power increase, and before every big attack where you're going to do a fully charged heavy, you also apply Blow of Madness. Then smash a target for unbelievable damage. This is the starting island, and right from the get-go, once you're out here, you can come southwest to this area here, to the pier. In this spot is a special enemy that is walking around with that hammer. Kill it enough times and eventually it will drop the hammer. So you can get it very early into your playthrough. The alternative is the Halberd. You bring yourself to the southern ruins here. Once you've been to Magmel the first time, you'll actually be allowed to go in, and inside are these enemies that have both the sword and the Halberd. So you kill them to get the sword or the Halberd, probably the Halberd, if you prefer that. To get Blow of Madness though for that build, you'll need to progress the main story until you're beyond the starting island. Based on your choices, there'll either be a bridge or you'll take a boat. But either way, you'll find yourself here at the refugee village, where there is a merchant who will be the first person to offer you Blow of Madness for 1,200 haze. So you aim for that as soon as possible. Then slap it on your weapon of choice, like the hammer. And whenever you're doing a boss fight or against a really strong enemy, you give yourself the edge buff, you apply Blow of Madness, do one charge heavy at the right moment, reapply Blow of Madness, and do it again. Very simple, very effective. And that's sort of the core of the build. The Deluxe Edition sword is obviously the better option because it's faster and also just stronger at a base level, but does require some different materials to upgrade, making it a bit more awkward to upgrade it, but it is entirely doable as I'll show you. Now in terms of blood code, you have your two options, right? If you're using the Deluxe Edition Greatsword, then I like the Jose blood code specifically. It has solid strength, dexterity, and mind, which is going to power the physical damage of our weapon attack and also help the buffs that we're giving ourselves last longer, which is really handy. It also has a special trait, which means you gain Ichor from weapon attacks, so obviously fantastic. To get it, you just need to progress the main story, meet Jose, work with her, and yeah, you get it, it's easy. If you're going for more of the two-handed style, then you want Irises, which is gained as soon as you enter the present timeline. Just speak with her, she'll become a companion, and then you've got her code. The reason for this is because it focuses hard on strength and vitality. So if you're using big weapons like Greatsword, Halberd, or Hammer, well then that's the obvious choice. And it only gets better when you upgrade it. No matter which weapon you're going for, you're going to want to upgrade it as soon as possible, as much as possible. We do that at the various minion merchants around the world, or with the merchant herself in the hub. So the hammer, for example, requires Tender Crimson Stone level 1 to initially upgrade. Same for the halberd. Whereas you can see the special Deluxe Edition sword requires light stones instead of these crimson stones. The first upgrade only requires one level 1 stone. The second upgrade requires 2. At which point you'll be at the max of +2 and you won't be able to upgrade it anymore until you get Tender Crimson Stone level 2, then 3, and so on. You're going to find them around the world, but be aware that you can actually infinitely buy them once you get the general customer token from the merchant in the Josie section, so definitely do that as soon as you can. But before that, where do you get the Tender Crimson Stone level 1 to get to +2? On the starting island, bring yourself to the southwest by the pier and follow the beach over to this area here. At the top left here, we're going to have the first stone. The next one you can find is actually here at Magmel. You bring yourself down into the main room and the first door on the left is where we've got this sort of workshop area, and here on this shelf right here will also be another stone. After you bring yourself to Magmel the first time, you're going to unlock the ability to go into the ruins, and the one you want to go to is the southern ruins. As you walk into the ruins, you'll turn left and find a stairwell leading up. It brings you to this sort of metal walkway, and on the side here, this glowing purple light is another pile of these stones. Once you progress off the tutorial island and bring yourself over to the next region, this is where you're going to start finding your level 2 stones and level 3s. Here are just a few quick locations just to show you them, but as a general rule, while you're traveling around, make sure you're keeping a lookout for any purple glowing item. These can be these upgrade stones that you absolutely want. So never ignore them, stop what you're doing and go grab them if you ever see one. On the other hand then, we need those light stones for the Deluxe Edition sword if you're running that instead. And the first ones you get are all in one place, which is really convenient. As you progress past the tutorial island, and you'll be very quickly arriving at Jose's outpost here at the front gate. So from that missile, you just sort of start to walk in. You can see the cocoon inside there. Turn left, follow this all the way around, and you eventually come back out to where an elevator is that takes you to the top level. Before you go up there, pick up the item. This is the Lightstone. Then you'll go inside and progress around and up to the sort of upper level. You'll be on one side of the upper level and then cross this kind of metal bridge. And as you follow that back around, you eventually drop down to the missile to progress the main area. But before you do that, on the left here, after you've crossed the metal bridge, there's a shipping container with the item, which is the Lightstone's Rafter. Which, just like that, is enough to get you to +2, which you want to do as soon as possible if that's your weapon of choice. So there's some beginning upgrades for your weapons to get them strong as fast as possible. What about, say, your jails? Why do you care to upgrade this? Well, it's going to deal more damage, which is a good thing, but simply upgrading your jail also empowers your partner. It increases their attack power because it's directly tied to the upgrade level of the highest level jail in your possession. So you always want to at least have one as upgraded as you can get it. To upgrade a jail, you come to the same merchants and choose Enhanced Jail. And then as you can see, instead of the ore, we're using platinum instead, which also have levels. Pure Platinum 1, Pure Platinum 2, and now we're up to Pure Platinum 3. As you can see, my Stinger is now +5. The first Pure Platinum you can get is actually down at the southern western point again, at the pier. Bring yourself southeast and you'll enter a cave area, which on the way has the first Platinum just laying there. The second one you'll get is actually also in Magmel, over by the training grounds. So from the workshop, you just head a little bit further in, and so you can find it in this room here. Another early source of platinum will be the southern ruins, so once you've actually progressed to Magmel, you can go in here. There's 2 levels to it, the lower level and then the upper level. It's on this side of the upper level, just a purple item on the ground to pick up. For future pure platinum then, you're going to need to come to the next region where they're going to level up to 2 and 3. And you can find these outside of Jose's outpost. There's the west gate fast travel point, and just outside here is a bunch of train cars. There's one inside of this train car. You can also find more at the siege substation all the way to the west here. Follow the main story and it just brings you here, but specifically it's in this corner on the left side. That's where you get the next pure platinum. So go grab it. Another way to power your progression is to enhance your regeneration at any missile. This requires 2 resources. One is a golden blood bead to enhance the actual healing you get, and then the one that you're going to get en masse is the golden nectar, which increases the amount of heals you actually have. You'll need more and more nectar per upgrade, but as you can see, it can get pretty high really quick. The trick to this one is to look at your map. If there's ever something like this little blue icon, you know there's something there, and more than likely it's going to be one of these golden nectars. So always go over to it as soon as possible. But on the starting island, they'll take you up this main road as you exit the cavern, and it's hard to miss. This is the first golden nectar. There's another one down here just outside of the southern ruins. As you're about to walk in, just turn to your right and it's just right there. Another one can be found on the beach, so bring yourself to the southern western point at the pier and then walk all the way to the north. At the end, you've got the next golden nectar. Then when we come to the next region, there's a load you can easily pick up. Again, my rule is to immediately go to these pink areas, destroy the jammer, and then you'll see these blue markers to show you what's there. Just go to them and collect them. But just to show you where they are, going around in a circle here from the Eastern Gatehouse ruins where you first enter, you go north and there's one on the road right there. Bring yourself further northwest to the next missile at the clock tower and there's one right next to it. Heading a lot more west, we have this one, which is on a balcony just from the siege substation. And actually outside of the siege substation on the southern side, there's another. Bringing ourselves southeast, the Western Gatehouse ruins, just southwest of that is another one. And I actually have a marker here inside of this location. I can see there's one over here. There's one here to grab. And there's even one outside on the west side of Jose's outpost to grab there too. So they're easy to find. Just reveal the map, go to the blue markers. Okay, next up we have the jails, the first 4 that you're going to be able to get. You start with the ogre one. Next up will be the bat one. To get the bat jail, you just need to speak with Lou after finishing the hub the first time you go there on the starting island. Then you go to a missile and go speak with Lou, and then you'll find the golden item just sat there on the side in this special room. Awesome. To get the Reaper jail, which has a sort of counter aspect to it, which is really cool. On the starting island, you'll need to go to the water treatment plant. Pass down to the 2nd level and you'll see this red carpet as you enter. There'll be many mobs inside of it. Here there's a couple rooms on the side with wood tables and chairs. There's a gold chest in there which has the Reaper, easy to pick up. Lastly, to quickly mention, you've got the classic Stinger. Another great option, reasonable range to this one. You pick this up in Jose's outpost. So, you initially go into the outpost, you go up the elevator, cross over the top side, drop down to the missile below. That's the West Gate missile. And from there, you're basically staring at this golden item right in front of you, which is the jail to pick up for the Stinger jail. Next up, we have the Bequeathed weapons. There's the 2 that you're going to get right off the bat. The Statesman longbow and the battle axe. The longbow is in the southern ruins once unlocked. In the lower area here, there's actually a gold chest. So once you open it, you just get the bow and it's your first one. Awesome. Meanwhile, the battle axe, which is really solid by the way, just comes by progressing the main story. I got it after my first time effecting the choice at the top of the storage tower, when you have to make a choice in regards to Noah. The next thing I want to mention is the boosters. These 4 slots basically give you relevant passives. So in terms of making the build as strong as possible, we want strength and dexterity, because this gives you more weapon attack power, strength specifically for heavy weapons, dex for lightweight weapons, but they're both actually useful, whichever you're doing. As you progress the main story, you're going to come to the present timeline, and there's going to be the giant lady who, when you speak to her, she gives you her code. But she also tells you, whenever you master a code, come speak with her, and you'll get a booster from her. Mastering a code is very simple. You simply equip it, kill enemies, and the proficiency bar fills. When it's full, the associated partner will give you their improved bloodline. At which point you can also come to the large lady in the hub here and say, hey, I did it, and she'll give you the associated booster. So for the strength booster which you want, you need to go partner up with Jose. That's the Gula bloodline, and once that's done, you'll get the +2 strength. The other one that comes sooner than that is the Dex one. It's with Noah, the first partner you get. So make sure you get full proficiency with his code, and you'll get the Dex from him. More effective and interesting than that is, say, the max LP boost. The more LP boost you have, the more survivability you have, and the more benefits you have from the partner for longer when taking hits. By speaking with the merchants then, you can extract boosters. This requires you to get specific materials that are dropped from specific enemies, as highlighted here by werebeasts. This one gives us +5 strength. This one gives us +5 dexterity. And here's the max LP boost that I'm highlighting. These come from succubuses. But there are other great options, like the Victory LP that gives you LP when you kill enemies, max stamina up, increased Ichor from drain attacks, which is another great option by the way, and all kinds of resistance related ones too. So I would recommend max LP boost and the Ichor Absorber. And if you're willing to grind, also the better strength booster and the better dexterity booster. Most important then would be max LP boost. Where do you get the succubus parts? In an easy and effective way. Bring yourself to the western region. Bring yourself northwest until the hill overlooking Clock Tower. There's a bridge here with a succubus that spawns right next to the missile. Run up, kill it, pick up the part, go to the missile, and run it again. Once you've got the parts you need, which is 4 of all 4 kinds, you can make that booster. The other one then is the Ichor Absorber. The reason we want this for the build is so that we can continuously spam our buffs. And if we're doing the combat formae dump, we're going to want to get Ichor for that. So the Ichor Absorber will be really helpful. So the Gula enemies are going to be necessary for this. I found a great source of them right here on this balcony, nearest to the Seas substation on the west side. Now, one other quick mention that I want to talk about is food buffs. You can use item synthesis to craft these. And what they do is they give you a buff until the next rest or death. So really good for clearing out areas or taking on a boss fight with some strength. Having one of these on compared to having nothing is going to be good, like even more max stamina. But anything that's going to increase the power that you have on hit, that's what we're looking for. You can get new recipes for cooking by trading with NPCs. By speaking with them, you can receive gifts. And as you can see, she offers steak as well as the recipe for steaks to craft them myself. Steak slightly increases weapon attack power and strength. So that's going to be a great option for us in this build. To get trading points, you need to give them gifts. They're going to like certain gifts more, like other gifts less. You find these items throughout the world, but even ones they don't like still give you points. You'll need 8 trading points to actually get the recipe, but this will be a top choice. But obviously this is done with Iris here in the main hub in the present timeline. If you need a lot of haze for leveling up or sorting out your equipment or whatever it is, I want to give you 3 locations that are great for farming haze that I found. The very first one that I loved is that elite by the beach on the starting island. It's about 500 haze per kill, so it's really effective and right next to a minion, so I was able to buy his full stock of everything right at the beginning of the game. So bring yourself to the island pier, reset the missile, kill it again, and repeat until you're happy. Alternative to that will be the southern ruins when it's open. Just right next to the missile is all the enemies on the lower level. Kill them, return to the missile, repeat. But it's less consistent because there's a pile of enemies and, managing a lot at once. The other elite farm that I really liked is that succubus. So bring yourself to the northern side here, the hill overlooking Clock Tower, where the bridge is next to the missile, and there's a succubus. Here you can run up and kill it, return to the missile, and repeat. Each kill gives you about 1.2 thousand haze, which is absolutely fantastic. And since you want to farm these for the max LP up booster, I think it's a great thing to go do. Again, like 6 levels from doing this easily. But for now, that will cover it. That's the location of a lot of important stuff, as well as 2 core builds around the edge buff playstyle. Obviously, it hits really hard and is really straightforward. And it's the strongest thing we found in our opening days of play. If this has been helpful to you, do drop a like. But until next time, I've been Hollow, you've been you, and thanks for watching.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.